So here is where we stopped last time. So in the lab, you have now did some practice with object-oriented programming. Hopefully the idea is clearer. And I want to explain one more thing. Just this will not affect your kind of programming skills, but more understanding what's going on behind the scenes. So I just want to highlight how inheritance works in JavaScript. What technique JavaScript engine uses to establish inheritance. So to explain this, let me drive it through an example. So here is the example. Let's say this one. This inheritance hierarchy. Very simple one. We have cat that extends animal, and we have a lion that extends cat. And then we go and create a lion object from this lion class. Now, just to show you what's going on is I put here a breakpoint where I want the execution to go ahead and stop here. And then I will debug instead of run. So I will here do debug. So it will run all the way and stop at that line. So at that line, I have a local variable called myLion, and it is of type line. Okay. No, don't be surprised, some people have lines, so it's not fictitious. Here is the line. So now when I expand it, I can explore that object, see what's inside. Here it is. So you can see that it has a property called name, and it has this special built-in property, some magically appeared. It is __ proto, __. So what it says is that this line was created based on this class line. Okay. Now, if I expand this proto, you can see there is another proto. Some new. First of all, you can see there is some function that appeared because this function came from the line class. And also, this line class itself has another proto, which is set to cat. And then when I expand this proto, another proto which is set to animal. And then when I expand this, I have another proto set to object. And then when I expand this, I have another proto, but it is set to here, this one, set to null. So what do we conclude from this?
The object is the source.
So the object is pointing to its parent through this proto property, and the parent is pointing to the grandparent using this proto property. Okay. So this is called the prototype chain. So this is how the objects that have inheritance between them, this is how they are linked. By simply, what JavaScript runtime does, it automatically adds a property called _proto, and it sets it to the parent. And the parent, its prototype is set to the class from where it's derived. And we keep doing this until we reach the object which has no prototype, which is basically its prototype is null. And this is very, very important to understand. It doesn't affect too much our programming in terms of techniques to program, but it's good to understand it. So let me explain it another way. Here is another example, very quick example. So in here I have an instance of a built-in class called date. And I come to this instance. I can extend an instance. I can add a new method to the instance. I'm creating a new method called foo, and this is what it does. And then I go ahead and call the method foo on this instance object. So what the JavaScript runtime will do, will first have a look at the instance object and say, do you have this method called foo? If yes, it will execute it. Otherwise, what it will do? It will go to the prototype of that object. So what is the prototype of instance? State. And then it will, let's say I call this method get time. So it will say, do you have get time? No. So it will go through the prototype chain and try to look for that property or that method I'm asking for. So it will find it here and it will execute it and give me the result. Now, if I ask for this one has on property, it will not find it here, it will not find it here, and it is defined in here, so it will be executed. If I do something like instance.x, it doesn't exist in any of them, what do I get back? Undefined. Okay, is clear? So this inheritance hierarchy is established through this concept of prototype chain. That's how it works, how inheritance works. Now, let me go back and just say one more thing about it. So this prototype, the concept of a prototype, it allows us to do two things. One is to implement this inheritance, as I showed you. The second thing I can use this prototype for is to extend the class. Let's say you already have a class. Either it is coming from the engine, with JavaScript engine, or you got it from somewhere else. You can extend it. You can add functionality to it. So let me show you a concrete example of doing this. Have a look at this. What is this class? Array. This class comes with JavaScript. It's built in. Even if you want to change it, you don't have the source code to change it. But you can extend it. This is the power of JavaScript. You can even extend existing classes that don't belong to you. You don't have any source code. How do you extend it? You go to the prototype of the class you want to extend. You put the name you want, what method you want to add, and you define the behavior of that method. It could be a method or it could be a property. It doesn't, it's the same. So in here, the array class in JavaScript does not have a sum method, but I'm adding it. And you can see here, I'm saying, okay, if somebody calls this method, I will initialize a sum variable with 0, and then I look through the elements of the array, accumulate them in sum, and then return the sum. And then in here, have a look. I'm declaring an array, and then calling the sum method. So very powerful idea. This concept of prototype is used for two things. One is to establish inheritance between objects. Two, you can use it to extend classes. Is the idea clear? So just to run it, just to show you it's what's going on. So مش بالكمبيوتر. Just for this page where you have this script. Yes, not in the whole browser. So if you have two tabs and you run this script in one tab, the sum is not accessible in the other tab. It's only in the page or in the context where this script has been executed.
On the program itself. Like
yes.
The code.
Yes. It doesn't affect the actual array class. You're not changing that. So we can try that. Let's copy this and let me go here. Yes, please. Yes.
So for the proto, I mean, in the memory, the class, the structure of it would have the actual content, or would just like be a pointer for the other class in the memory, so it gets the data it needs.
No, it's a point. Objects are when you refer to them are all pointers.
Yeah, so it's not in the structure.
It's a pointer to another memory structure.
It's not like normal inheritance that it's there in that structure itself. Well, point.
Now, those details I cannot discuss them in precise way because it is implementation dependent. How the browser implements it. But in general, as a standard, remember JavaScript is a standard. That there is a committee that takes care of it, and they agree on the features and the capabilities, and then the browsers take the standard, download it, and go and implement it. So the implementation could be different from one browser to another, but the idea of using prototype-based inheritance is all there. Very simple idea is that the child refers to the parent. Each child refers to its parent, and when you call a method on the child, it will say, it will try to find it in the child, otherwise it will go to the parent and keep bubbling up until it reaches the object, and then executes the method if it's there. Otherwise you get back undefined. Okay? Now let me just paste this code here. And as you can see, I'll get 15. It does the sum and gets me 15. Sum is there because because I run it in this tab. So this sum should be there. So if I take another array,
without defining the function.
yeah, without defining it, it should be fine. Here it is, sum, and you get the sum. Okay? I basically extended the array class with a new method that the JavaScript people were lazy to implement, or they didn't think it's useful, but I find it useful. Of course, this is only in this browser, in this tab. If I open a new one and go to the inspect.
Doctor, so you make array without a variable?
Yes, you can make many ways you can make an array. Some you see here, undefined. In a new tab is undefined. You can make the simplest way to make, for example, to make an object. Remember, to make an object, you say var or let obj equal this. This is one way to make an object. Another way nobody uses is a new object. They are exactly the same. To make an array, this is array. This is an array. Okay. Another way to make it, nobody uses it. A new array. Okay. Either way is the same. So whether you do it this way or that way, at the end, it is an instance of array. So this is the most common way in practice people create objects or arrays. So it doesn't matter whether it is an object. You can create an array and call them method objects. This is the power of JavaScript.
Yes, but in this side there was nothing. I mean, in the left side there's no var,
nothing. Basically, in here on the fly.
Yeah.
On the fly, I create an object. Okay, and I can do things with it.
Okay.
Remember, an array is an object. So here I created an object, and I can. It might be even surprising. You can do here test. This is a string. Khalas. You don't need to declare it. You don't need to put it in a variable. Yeah, to uppercase, no problem. You will get it this way. So you can create an object and act on it without putting it in a variable. This is very flexible. This is the power of JavaScript. All right. So that's it for prototypes. Two things to keep in mind. It is used for inheritance, and it is used to extend classes. Either your classes, other people's classes, or even built-in classes. You can extend them. That is for prototype. Now, the last idea I want to show you is the idea of module. So when you have a large implementation, you will not keep putting your code in one file. You will start breaking down your implementation in multiple files. And now in here, the way we break our implementation into multiple files, it is slightly different whether you are doing it for the browser or you're doing it for Node.js. So hopefully by now, if I can find my pen. Behind the. Oh, thank you. So hopefully by now you already realized that JavaScript, you can run it, at least for now, in two different environments. Either in the browser or on the server, on your laptop, using this very famous runtime called Node.js. Okay? So the core JavaScript and whatever we have seen so far is the same in both. But of course, there are slight differences between the two. As we move forward, you will start realizing them. For example, when JavaScript runs in the browser, it has access to the DOM. Remember the DOM?
Yes.
On the server or on the laptop, it doesn't make any sense. There's no such thing as a DOM. But in Node.js, we have access to the file system, for example. You can read and write files. While when JavaScript runs in the browser, you cannot read and write files in the local system because of security concerns. So bad guys might put some code and start playing with your files. Okay? So that's why they don't allow it. But Node.js, it is under your control. You run the scripts you want, so they allow you to give. So the way we do modules in Node.js is a bit small differences between the two. With the time, they will become the same. But for now, it's a bit different. So I will show you the way we do it in Node.js, and then I'll show you the way we do it in the browser. Okay. So let's start with Node.js. So the idea is you have some, let's say, the main JavaScript file, and we have some modules, lots of modules. Module 1, module 2, and so on. So you will have different modules. Let's say this is a banner system. Any functionality related to students, for example, you put it in module 1. Anything related to, let's say, grading, you put it in module 2. All the functionality related to registration, you put it in module 3. It's just a way of organizing. You can think of it that way. Like a module can have classes, can have variables.
Like libraries. More than libraries.
Yeah, it's a module. So a module can have functions, variables, classes, and in one file. So in JavaScript, it's very simple. One module, one physical file. So they are equivalent. One module is one file. So what you want to do is you have some modules, some functionality here that you want to export that other modules can import. So similar concept you have seen packages in Java. Yes, like you import some packages for you to use them. So exactly the same, it's just a different syntax. So in here I have two JavaScript files. Have a look at this. Two JavaScript files. One, this is a module that will be exporting some functionality for other modules to make use of. So to be able to export some functionality, you use this keyword export dot the name. In this case, we are exporting functions. Yes, we are exporting two functions, area and circumference. So I'm using this keyword export, and then in the module that will make use of this file, instead of using import, we will use this keyword require. It's a function. What do I put in as a parameter?
The name of the file.
The name of the file I want to import. So instead of import, they use the keyword require. It's just the way they have decided. So, and then when I import it, I put it in a variable. And through this variable, I can access functions that will export. This one is just a syntax. Don't let it confuse you. This is the way they have decided to do it. Okay. So, export is to make these visible to other modules. Require to make use of it. That's it. This is how we do it. This is how modules work in JavaScript. In Node.js JavaScript. Is clear? Okay. Now, in the browser, you have a couple of ways to do it. Sorry, let me show you here. In the browser, we already have the ways to do it. Let me show you. You're already familiar with this anyway. In the browser, you just go to script here, and you can add, script. You can add as many scripts as you want. No problem. And all the scripts you add here will be visible to the page, to the whole page. You basically have script source equals the name of the JavaScript file. So you can one way to do it. This is not the best way. I'll show you a better way. But on the browser, we know how to do it. In the head of the HTML, you can include as many JavaScript files as you wish. And these JavaScript files, they see each other. When you load, basically here you're just bringing them all into the page. So they can see each other. They can call each other. Or as long as you load them all on the page. But this is not very good practice. We will see a better way of doing it. But in Node.js, because we don't have page to load them, you need to do this technique. You get the idea. You get the difference between the two. Where is my example? Alright, sorry. Here is the module. Yes. Yes, here. Here is my module in Node.js. Okay, this is another example. Yes, this is the example we will see. So here is the class, the module that has some functionality that I want to export. So I just use the keyword exports, dot the name of what I want to export. And then in the module that will, the module I want to use, in the file where I want to use other functionality from other module, I use require. So, by the way, in JavaScript, just as a convention, the main file where we will start the execution. Usually people call it index.js, but you can call it whatever. It's just a convention. Similar in the main in traditional development, you use the main as the entry point. In here, the entry point file is typically called index, but it's not a requirement as you know. Usually in the index file we use the require. Yes. So in here I am requiring two modules. One is greeting, and the other one is circle. If you are lazy not to type .js, no problem. It's up to you. For me, I prefer to be more precise. It's fine. I don't mind putting it like this. But if you don't want, it's fine. It's up to you. All right. So here is how you import it using the require. Whatever was exported will be accessible through this variable called greeting. So have a look at this greeting file. I'm exporting a function called Yana, and this is what it's doing. And in here, in circle, I'm exporting two methods. Okay? And then I'm calling them basically. This method is coming from this module, and these two methods are coming from this module. So you see here how I broke my functionality into different modules, different files. That's an organization. Because greeting has nothing to do with the circle. It doesn't make sense to put them in one place. So I separate them logically, and then I bring them into the index, into the main file, to run them. Okay.
So, Doctor,
yes.
the best way to put them all in the same module, then you just require the module with HTML or something like this?
For the client side?
Yeah.
Or for the Node.js? For Node.js, this is the way. For the client file, I'll show you. So we will come to that. Because there is a little bit more story to tell about this. So let me just run it first. So no problem, it's working. This is coming from greeting module, and this is coming from the circle module. Is the idea clear? Now, this Node.js is so popular that people have created so many modules, and they make them available open source. You can think of any functionality you want to do. For example, you want to call a service, you want to send an email, you want to encrypt a message, you name it. You think of anything. Before you roll up your sleeves and do it, look up, you will find the module already ready. Now, where this module, there is kind of a marketplace where you can find them. There's something called npmjs.com. There are only 253,000 modules that you can download. And not very popular, only almost 4 billion downloads last month. So it shows you how popular is this. Okay? Now, to make it easy to download modules from this repository, Node.js, this very, very famous project, basically it has two major parts. We will see that it has more, but for now, it has the JavaScript engine, the runtime engine to run JavaScript. It has also this utility called npm, which stands for Node Package Manager. Node Package Manager. And basically what it allows you to do, you can download packages from it. Later on, you can also publish packages here, but we will not see this for now. Later. For now, you can just download. For example, there is a very, very famous package we will call jQuery. We will study this package later on. Very popular. For the famous packages, you don't need to come here. You will know them by name. You just say, I want this package, it will grab it and bring it back. If you are not familiar, you just come here. It will tell you a little bit of documentation, a little bit of things about it. And here is how you install it. npm install jQuery. That's it. If some weird package nobody knows about, you come here, you try to look for it. And it will tell you what to do to download it. So first...
After we go to the
yeah, I will explain. I will explain what's going on. Let's do a small example. Here it is. So let's say, let me just create, let's say I create a new project. In here, let me just create a new folder. Let's call it, here is a new folder. I will call it npm test. Suppose this is a new project I'm starting off, and I want to make use of some packages that already exist, some modules that people already made. And this is what professionals use. You don't need to feel like I'm using some other people's packages. This is very normal. Now, what you do is to deal with that, to use this npm, you just need to learn the command. It's just one or two, three commands you need to learn. That's all. I think only two to make use of this. So first, to run these commands, you can go to the command line, the Windows command line, or if you are using something like WebStorm, there is a terminal here. See it here? Yes. The black one. You will be using this very heavily as we move forward. So you go to the terminal. It will land in the root folder of your project. But I want to come to this folder. So I will just do cd npm test. You don't need to type everything. Start and put a tab. It will do auto-completion for you. Here is I am now in this folder, npm test. So the first thing I do, I create some special file called package.js. I want to put in this file what are the dependencies I depend on, my project depends on. So to initialize that file, to create that file, you can either go here, right-click, new, and here, package.js. You can create it this way, or if you wish, you can create it using a command. npm init. I'm basically initializing a file where I put the dependencies. I'll explain why this file is very, very important. So you just type it here. It will start asking you what is the name of your project, what is the version. You can just ignore everything if you wish. No problem, that's not important.
What do you mean, like you declared dependency?
I will explain. Just, okay. Just remember, there is a file called package.json. Okay? Package.json. All right. Now, what I will do, let's say I want to make use of the jQuery. I want to make use of jQuery library. Very, very, very famous library. I want to make use of it. How do I get it down and include it in my project? So I will use the command npm install jQuery. Now, I also want to save this dependency. I want to declaratively say my project depends on this library. So what I will do here, I will add this flag here, save, which means I want you to do two things. Download this library and add an entry in this file called package.json. I will explain why this is important. So let me just run it. So now it will, that 4 billion downloads, it will add one. It will download one more library. So it is downloaded, it's finished. So when it finishes, have a look what happened. You have a folder called, very famous folder called node underscore modules. All the modules that you downloaded from that package repository, they will be downloaded in there. And you can see, you will see there jQuery. In a real project, you might have 20, 50, 30 packages that you download from other projects. Now, here is the package. Have a look at this package.json. This is not important. It's up to you whether you put it or not. This is what is important in this file. It says that my project has dependency on jQuery version 2.2.1 and any version that comes after it as long as it is compatible with this version. Okay? So now, what is the value of having this file?
So you can for any update function. You don't
Sorry?
have to connect to any online. You get to the online. You can go to the online and get the functionalities.
Very good.
This is the linking.
Yes, this is declaring the dependency. The good thing about it is when I push this to GitHub, let's say, or I share it with you, I put it in a zip file and share it with you, I don't need to share with you this. I can delete this or not push it. And only give you this file.
It will link it there.
No, when you get the project, let's say, first of all, let me just show you. Let me show you. If I go to this GitHub, here is the examples. You can see the Node.js is not included in the things that will be pushed to GitHub. Have a look.
Just the package.
Just the package. If you have the package, because those modules, first of all, they don't belong to you. You're not supposed to put them in your own repository. Plus, some of them are so famous, why should another million people have it in their repository?
Yeah.
So we never, it's not good at all, and I hope you will not do it when you do your homework or lab or whatever. Whenever you push into GitHub, you don't push the node underscore modules. You only push
The package.
the package. Okay? And then whoever gets the project, when you download the project, you issue one command called npm install. What this npm install will do, yes, will install all the dependencies declared in the package.json. This is how professionals do it.
Yes.
So this small little file, what you do in that file?
What dependency?
Put the dependencies.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it everybody lost? See there?
طب ليش تغلبوا العالم وخلوهم يبدلوا؟
لا علشان
ليش عارف عن لسه انزل؟
No, but remember, like, you don't want to have multiple copies. Okay? Plus, you want.
الفايل نفسه بيكون أصغر.
Yes, when you push it, you don't want to put. You don't remember the repository has your code. You don't want to worry about other people's code.
Yes.
Okay? And plus, when you are downloading, you are guaranteed to always get the latest version. If they have fixed something, you get the latest.
تخليك مع الابديت وتخلي الفايل
Yes,
lighter.
and more importantly, to keep your repository small and not things that you not outside your volume, outside your what you are responsible for. Okay? So now, how do I get GitHub to ignore this node underscore module, not to push it to GitHub? How do I do this? There is a simpler way than a command. So let me show you. These are little concepts, but very important to be aware of them. Yes. Now, in the root of your GitHub, you add one file called get.ignore. And in that file, you put whatever you want to ignore. When you push it, you don't push. So for example, a lot of stuff that get generated by the tool or node modules, I don't want you, or some files I don't want you to see, or it's my own files that I don't want to push to everybody, I can put them in.
exams, for example.
Yeah, for example. Yeah, very good. Yes. So something like this. So anything I have in there, they will not get be pushed. Now, when you download in, when you synchronize, you will get the project. You will not get the modules. Are you following?
Yes.
When you download, when you get the project, you will get the project like this. Let me just remove this one. No problem. Don't be scared of this. You can delete it. It's not yours. When you download this new project, you will only get the package.json. The first thing you do before you send me an email, the example does not work, you will have to do npm install. Okay? This will go through the dependencies and it will download. This is the basic workflow that professional developers do. In fact, that repository I showed you that has the millions of downloads, you can have public packages. You can even have private packages. But if you decide to make it private, you have to pay to put your code in there. Private means you have some modules only people in your organization have access to, not the public. If you want to make it public, it's free. It's amazing. Okay. Same thing for GitHub, as you know. If you want to make it public, no problem. No payment. As soon as you want to make it private, only for you and your group, you have to pay some monthly payment. Okay, see here. If I get back to here, my module is back. Because remember, these modules could be your implementation could be like maybe 500 kilobytes, but the module could be 10 megabytes.
Yes.
So that's another reason we can push. You can see a lot of reusability. This is another level of reusing code. It's clear? Concept of modules? Okay. Now, for the client side, sorry, where I am, here it is, I am here. Yes. Sorry, let me just close this. Now for the client side, as I explained, there are two ways you can do it. You can either break down your code into multiple files and then include them in the header of the HTML. Okay. The only problem with this is that the scripts in here, all of them will be visible to this file and vice versa. So all the scripts will be visible to each other. Plus, sometimes you have libraries coming from organization or person X and another file from organization Y and person Z, and they might have functions and variables with the same name. And you start getting some kind of clashes. And good luck in finding what's going on. So this concept of polluting what they call the global scope and all the functions are visible on the whole page is not very healthy. We're in a complex application. Because as you saw, we are using not only our scripts, all people, not only you or his class, all people in the world, including ITS and IBM and Microsoft, all of them. They use other people's code. So this idea of importing the scripts here is not the best. So the idea of module is much better. But we had to wait until 2015 to bring this concept of modules to the... Okay, here it is. So in 2015, they started looking into this, and they created the concept of modules in JavaScript. In Node.js, it was there from day one. But in the browser, it's only in 2015. Now, so you can see browsers need some time to implement this. But you can still use it now. But you have to use some extra libraries to include in your page. So this is how it works in the new standard, on AS 2015. You go to the module and you use export without export dot. In Node.js, if you remember the syntax, this is just a syntax.
Yes.
The concept is the same. One module exports and the other module require. But in the new standard, we call it import. So there is export and import. So the module exports, for example, in here I'm exporting two classes. Car and convertible. And convertible extends car. It doesn't matter. I'm basically exporting two classes. And in my app.js, I am importing these two classes. Can you see here? This is the syntax. I'm importing them from this file called car. Okay? And then once I import them, I can make use of them.
This way, they won't see each other, right?
Yes, they won't see each other. Like basically a module imports other modules. And when you're on your page, you only load this one.
So the third,
you don't load the second one.
We said the front car because the other extended car?
No. It doesn't matter. Don't let this confuse you. It has no...
No. I mean, here in the import, why we said from...
No. From, this is the name of the file.
Okay.
The name of the file. Remember, in JavaScript, a module is basically
a file.
Okay. So
I have to go to the module and see which the export names for the things and put them in the...
Yes. Sure. You want to import... No, if you don't want, you can import star. Yes, there is. You can import all if you wish. Or you can import selectively. Okay? But usually maybe a module has lots of things. You don't need all. Here is the power of this. The reason why I showed you this is that you selectively import what you need. You don't import everything. Okay, is this clear?
Yeah.
So let me show you this in a concrete way. And you can start using it today, although browsers are taking their time to implement it. So here is how we use it, how we can use it today. Here is modules.
So which browser, like the most one was the...
Chrome, and then Firefox, and then of course IE is always there. Edge. There is a new browser for Microsoft called Edge. IE has so bad a reputation that they decided to distance themselves from it. Here, okay, have a look at this. Here is the module. Here's the module here. I am exporting two functions. Can you see here? And I'm exporting a class. You can export anything from a module. If you want to export something, come in front of it and put the keyword export. That's it. Now,
like a private public or something like that. So it's here it's export.
Yes. Now here, remember, there are files making things visible to other files. Something you don't want to make visible, don't put the export.
Yes.
Okay. If you don't make export, for example, if I remove export, this function cannot be imported in another file. Okay. Now, in the file where you want to import, if you wish to import all, no problem. You just put import star as, give it some alias, and then from there you can have access to all what you want. To all the functionality from the module. Another way to do it is you selectively import what you want. You follow it? Yes. You selectively import. This is just some JavaScript calling those functions and updating the page. Okay. Now in the HTML, have a look at the HTML. I only import the main one. I don't import the modules. In my page, have a look at the header of my page. I only import the main. It's better to call it index. Remember, the convention is to call it index or app. That's another name. But let's call it index. See here, it changed to index. All right. So here is the idea. Now, if you want to use this import, currently Chrome or Firefox, all of them, they don't understand this import thing. They are not aware of the concept of modules. But if you want to make them aware, just add this bunch of scripts. Okay? This will make the browser capable. So you as developer, you cannot wait to use this interesting feature. No problem. You don't need to wait. Use it now and add these extra scripts. You can Later on, when the browser catch up and they start understanding modules, what you need to do?
Just delete them.
Just remove this and your code will work.
There are compilers to be
Kind of extending the browser with some extra functionality. Extending JavaScript with some extra functionality. Okay? That is the idea. And this will work perfectly. Let me just show you. This works perfectly and you see the results. All right? Okay. So you can use the new features now. In fact, we will see next lecture, inshallah, we'll see the current version that browsers are working hard to catch up with is ES 2015. And the new version that we will release very shortly is ES 2016. Okay? But developers, even in this course, we will be learning and using these latest things. We don't want to study the history of JavaScript. We want to study JavaScript and the latest. So the good news is there are kind of, let's say, more libraries that will allow the browser to run future versions of JavaScript. No problem. So we can start making use of this, and while the browser keep catch up, then we don't use those modules, those libraries anymore, and we rely on the native browser capability. Okay. That is the way things are moving. All right. So just give me one more. That's it. This is finished for object-oriented programming and for having a modular kind of development. Just give me 2 minutes since we started a bit late, if you don't mind. I just want to introduce the most important concepts in JavaScript so far, and it's a bit hard. You need a bit of time to understand it. And unfortunately, it is part, not unfortunately, it's fine. It is still part of the 20%. You cannot do any meaningful JavaScript development, enterprise development, without this concept of asynchronous programming. Okay? So, I just want to introduce it so you can start thinking of it, and inshallah next time I will explain it much, much more. Alright, let me show you this example. I was just playing with it, developing it when I came here. So first of all, let us understand, just conceptually, what is synchronous versus asynchronous. Anyone? Synchronous versus asynchronous. So for example, for communication, when we communicate. Sorry?
It's not. It doesn't run in the UI, the main UI.
No, in general, in life, in general.
Like synchronized, like things are in a queue and they're one after another, processing or something. And asynchronized, that something will happen at a point of a time.
Okay,
but you don't have like a specific time, or it doesn't have like an order kind of schedule. Close. But just to make it, because of the time, just to make it clear. For example, let's say phone call. Is it a synchronous or asynchronous communication?
Synchronous.
Synchronous means you and the person you're talking to, you need to be up and running, you need to be there. And basically one talks, the other one waits. And this is synchronous. Now let's take SMS. Is it synchronous or asynchronous? Asynchronous. You don't need to be there. When the recipients decide to look at it, they win. And when, if they wish, they can reply at a certain time in the future. Same thing for email. Is it synchronous or asynchronous? Now, the problem with synchronous is that there is this wait. Block. Basically, whoever is calling, or whoever, when you ask for something synchronously, you have to wait for the reply to come. While asynchronous, you don't need to wait. Just place your request, move on with your life, and then hopefully at a certain time in the future,
you'll get it done.
You get the idea?
Yeah.
Now, I'll give you another example, concrete examples. Concrete example. You know there are some, maybe we don't have here, I can say, some crazy Apple fans. Like when there is a new edition of the iPhone, what happened in these stores?
They just go.
They go maybe the midnight of the day before.
Yes.
And they queue. Okay? That's basically synchronous, where you basically wait on the queue for your turn. But the advantage, yes, you will get the phone, but you have to wait. You will block. You will do nothing in your life except waiting to get that phone. What's the other way, easier way?
You order online.
You order it online. Okay. And you block everything and stop.
You keep your life.
Keep going. And then at a certain time in the future,
They call you.
yes, somebody will knock at your door, the post office, or they will get an SMS and you will go and collect it. Or it will come to your door. This is synchronous versus asynchronous. So the problem with synchronous, there is
A delay and
block. No, the problem is blocking. When you make a synchronous request, you as the requester need to block and wait for the reply. With asynchronous, you place a request and you move on. This is the difference. Okay. Now let me show you this in a concrete way. This is the last thing. Sorry, here it is. Have a look at this. In here, I have this get average. Have a look at this. I have a get average and I have click me.
Yes.
Here, this click me has some bit of scary, a very scary loop. Let me just show it to you. Here is the view source. So you see here it loops 1 million times. I think 1 million. And it does the sum and average of that 1 to 1 million. Okay. So this loop will take a long time. Long time execution. Yeah, basically it will block the whole browser. Have a look at this. So when I have a look at this before, this one is so quick because it's not long running. No problem. I can do this synchronously. But this one, if I do it synchronously, look what happened. Once I click it, everything is blocked. This will only reply if when this one finishes. While this one is going, you can't do anything. So blocking, if you want to have a bad user experience and your users will hate your application, it will transition to you, then avoid synchronous. Sorry, if you make it synchronous, you will have bad user experience.
Yes.
So that's why asynchronous is very, very important. So for example, Gmail, your emails, it's all asynchronous. You can write an email, why? Checking a new email. While you're writing, you can see there's a new email. Sometimes you even start replying with a new email from the same person. And you jump to that one when you reply to both in one copy. You get the idea? This is the difference. So JavaScript is all about asynchronous. This is the power of JavaScript. But it's a new way of thinking. It will take you a little bit of effort. Once you go over that first learning step, then it will be very, very useful, the skill to acquire.
Actually, I think it's something similar in Android.
Okay, so you have... All right, thank you. I will send an email. I have to... The exam will be before the online drop in. Sorry? That's why I need to have a look and then I'll send you exact things. I will send you.
I'm having other exams, so that's why I'm asking. I need to know.
Inshallah, I will send it. Yeah, I will try to put them. I'm not sure about the quality of them, but I will put them